Alright, this video we're going to talk about the theme options panel, and we can actually find that by going into the admin section and then all the way to the bottom left, clicking on theme options. That's where I am right now. And we have a few different tabs, and at first it's going to be a little bit overwhelming, a lot of things, a lot of different options, but I'm going to touch base on most of these, not everything in here, but the majority of these things. And there's probably a strong chance that you're probably not even going to touch half of these things, but just in case, we'll go over it. First thing under general is your logo. Here is where you change out your main logo, the one that you see right in here, as well as your what's called a favicon. That's the little tiny 16 by 16 logo you see in this little corner tab. So when you upload this, make sure that it is 16 by 16. Next is your meta information. I do recommend that if you're going to put in keywords and descriptions for SEO purposes, let me rephrase that. If you're using an SEO plugin, make sure you come in here and clear these out. Otherwise, you're going to have double listings on your site. So we don't want to confuse the Google bots or anything. Next is your footer. We got your copyright, and we have the logos. And the logos are the section that's showing up on this bar right here. So if you want to add some logos or some awards or things like that that you've received, you can put that in here. And unlike the majority of other things on this site where you can upload a picture and it crops it for you, it auto sizes it, this section does not auto size it. So I would stay right in the area of this size. Don't upload a picture that looks like this or this size and then it doesn't crop it down and you're wondering what happened, what's wrong. It must be a small size, and it's gonna not, it's not gonna auto crop it for you, so it shrinks it down and fits it in there. Alright, that's it for the vendor section, or the general section. And anytime you're making a change, all you're going to have to do is hit the Save Options button, as well as be careful with that Restore Defaults button. This Restore Defaults button does not only change out this section, meaning you come in here and you made a change to the logo and then you hit Restore Default, it only fixes or resets the logo section. No, it actually will reset the entire options panel. So if you've come in here and you made a bunch of changes over time and then you made a mistake under one section and you hit this Restore Defaults, you just wiped out the whole options panel. So be careful with that. Next is the vendors. I will not cover that this section. That's going to be its own tutorial just because it has a lot going on and there's a lot to cover. I don't want to overwhelm you with one video covering that section. Alright, our home page. This is where we take care of the banner. I did cover this in another tutorial. This is where we can actually set what kind of banner we want, what kind of animation, and that kind of a thing. The headline. This is the section with the newsletter, which we have right here, as well as signing up for a newsletter. And this is not tied into Constant Contact or tied into MailChimp or anything like that. This is just you getting a general email with someone's information to where you can save it and store it or sign them up on your own. Boxes. This is the section I covered in another tutorial right for is these three boxes right here, are these 6 boxes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm having a hard time talking here. So this boxes section is this, and we actually covered that in another tutorial as well. But real quick, you basically fill out the information, fill out the color of the background box, fill out the color of the text, choose your font type, as well as add your link. You can do all of that for each one of these boxes. And you can actually not have these boxes at all if you choose, to go that route. The action bar, if we scroll down, we'll see this right here. Elegance comes complete with a beautiful gallery option. There's a little button in here, some text. That's this right here. So you can give it your title, your text, which does take a basic HTML, such as making font bold or italics or things like that. Your link of where it's going to go to. So when they click the button, where does it go? And then you can actually name the button so you can give it the text. So I have there's more, but if you want to call it read more, learn more, go there now, whatever, you can do all of that. Last in this section is the article, and basically this has got a few different options within it that you can do, and this section is right here. We can do a couple things. We can drop a picture in there, we can flip the picture left, we can flip the picture right, we can add a little link, we can actually pull from an article that was already created. So let's say you made a page or a post. We can choose from another section right here from page, or you can actually just upload an image. What will happen is when you choose what you want to use, it's going to show the different fields for that. So right now I have custom text, and if I scroll down I see my image, my link, my title. I can align the image if I want to align it left or right. So let's say I do right. Update this thing. Now my picture is going to be on the right side of it with my text on the left. So as far as doing a custom image and text, you can do that and kind of play with it. But also you can pull from an actual page, from an actual section you've already made. So let's say I come in here and I choose page. My stuff will update. And all I got to do is put my page ID. I've gone over how to get that in an other tutorial, but just in case, I'll show you real quick. And what we'll see is if I hover over this name of this page in the bottom left, right here, the bottom left, see where my mouse is? A box is going to pop up. So look, see that? So we'll see a number in there. It says 247. That is the actual ID number for this. So if I put gallery and sleep, I don't move it, 99. So that number is what it's asking for in the theme options panel. So you put that in there, and it will pull up this page. Where are we? Article. So let's see. We'll do a page 118. Save this. Let me refresh this thing. Now what we're going to have is some basic information that's going to be pulling from this article. So here's the article that's pulling. Just no image, it's just the text and intro, so you can actually set that up. Let me put this back to custom text. There we are, that's what I had before. Save it. And as well, maybe you don't want this. Maybe you don't want an image, you don't want an intro, you don't want anything. Then all you would simply do is choose no. As in show homepage featured article, no, if you don't want it. Okay, layout settings. This is where we actually choose if you want to set a background color, you want to set a pattern. You can actually upload your own custom background pattern. So if you have one you want to set in there, you can actually upload that. And if you choose one and you didn't, later on you don't want one, then obviously you can just choose none. So it's pretty easy and pretty self-explanatory there. Social settings. These obviously are the social links. If you have this theme and you have more than what you're seeing in this video, meaning right now I just have these four, maybe you have Wedding Wire one, maybe you have a YouTube one or whatever, this will look different than what you have because obviously you have different icons and a different icon set. So to get those to show up, you just got to fill in the URL. So for instance, Facebook, if I delete this out and I update the front end, I will no longer see and here the Facebook link. If it wants to refresh, there it is. So now it's gone. So it shows up with you actually having that link in there. All right, typography. Now, this one I say with a huge, large warning. People love to go in there and start choosing different font types and font sizes and random this and random that and colors and everything. Be careful, and I would highly suggest that you stick with whatever the default font that was given to you with the actual design. Stick with that and you should be okay. Otherwise you're going to have this jumbled mess and actually create more problems than that you want to deal with. With that said, we can actually change our hyperlink colors. So if you actually make a link on the site, such as such as this right here, see this? This is my default. So this is a little hyperlink. So whenever you're making a page or creating a post or something, you want to set a link for it to link somewhere, you can choose what color you want that to be. So right now it's empty because it's using the default. But if I come in here and I choose, just use this for now. It says no underline, I'll give it an underline. Then what's it going to look like when I mouse over it? I'll give it some weird green, that way we can see it work. And then no underline as the action of when it hovers. So let me save this. Refresh this, and what I should see is this new red and then the green when I roll over it. So there's the red with the underline. and then there's my green with no underline. So you can actually update this, to set this how you want it to. And just to get rid of it, I'm just gonna dump this stuff out. No underline, and then underline for, there we go. Hopefully this is back to the default. Double check this. So now every time by default you make a link, there it is. It's going to be your original setting. Alright, so let's talk about the headings now. Basically a heading, and actually let me just, a lot of you probably already know, but just in case you don't, let me go to a page real quick and just come back to this. Let's see, let me create a new one actually. So new page. Now I'm creating a page, I'm adding a blog post, I'm creating content, whatever the case may be. And then you have a title, that you would have for your article or your page. And then below that you would have, your article, your actual paragraphs, I should say, that you actually, that someone's going to read. So you want to give this a heading. So those are called header tags, or H1 tag, H2 tag, H3 tag, and so forth. So if I highlight this thing and I click paragraph, I can choose which heading. So if I choose heading 3, it's going to be the same default style every time. That way I know that I'm congruent with my site. I always have the same look and feel throughout. So if I preview this, here's my title. This is my style and my sizing of that. So that's the H3 tag, right? So that's H3. So let's go ahead and let's see, save this. And if I come back to the theme options panel, alright, the recording kind of cut out a little bit, so I'm not sure where you lost me at, so I'll kind of backtrack and try to go back around again. So basically we're talking about typography, we got to the heading parts, and I was talking about selecting size for your headings 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. And let me actually do this. Let me set up another instance so I can kind of pop back and forth without wasting time. Alright, so I'm going to go under Pages, and I did a default real quick. No title, here it is. And if this didn't cut out, I apologize, but sometimes the recorder goes out and I make sure that nothing's getting left behind. Okay, so I made an article, I gave it a title, I want to have a style for my title, whether it's a large font, small font, colored font, whatever. If I go under the paragraph button, which is this, under the format button, I can choose. So right now, I have heading 3, which I had selected by choosing that, heading 3. Okay? And then if I save, and preview this, this is what I get. This is my styled heading right here, right? Okay, so that's a header 3 tag. So if I come down to my header 3 tag, I can choose a different font type. So I'll choose this one. I can choose my color. I can actually choose the side. So let's say I do 24 pixels. Let's update this. Let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and preview. And there we are. There's my different font and then my different font size. So you have a lot of control over your fonts, your headings, specifically with this site, and keeping everything uniform and congruent. As I said in the beginning, is don't go too crazy with your fonts. However, you can kind of come in here and you can play with some stuff and actually, come up with something pretty cool. And like I said, in a word I like to use, congruent throughout the rest of the site. That way when you're making pages and titles and things, they all, look the same. So let's go ahead and get this out, put this back to default, And if you're not sure you don't like something, you can always put it back to default. So default, there we are. Okay. Content is going to be the same thing. This is your paragraph font, so that's the font that we see in here. That's this. You can control the size, the color, and the type. Banner font, same thing. We can control the type of text, the type of font, and the color. And then your list styles. These are for when you actually make bullets. And this is really cool. I love this about this options panel. We can actually set and control different types of lists for that, that are going to be used throughout the site. For example, let me go to, let's see, let me go to a page real quick. Alright, what I'm going to do is set up an actual list demo so you can kind of see how this works. So I'm on a page, the same one actually we made a minute ago. And, list of items. Okay, so I'm going to make a list out of this. I'm going to click this little bullet thing right here, unordered list. And then another one here, another one, and etc. Alright, so let's publish this. Let's preview. And now what we have is what I have currently in the system. Here's my list, and if I go back to the options panel, I can see the color I'm using, the font type I'm using, the size of the font, the actual indent, meaning how far does it push over from the left. So right now I have 30, so if I put in, let's say, 60, thought I hit save. Did I not hit save on that? No, there we go. Refresh. Now it's going to be indented a little bit further, so it's a little bit further over. We can also do the space in between, the line height in between each list, each bullet point. So right now I'm at 7, I do like 15. See, a little bit more space in between each one. So we actually have a lot that we can do. And what's also really cool is we have built-in, excuse me, we have built-in 4 different types: a square, a disc, a circle, and I should say 3, excuse me. And then we could choose custom image, which we have now, and you can actually upload your own type of bullet, your point, your list, your style, whatever. I've uploaded a little star for this one. That's the one I'm using. By the way, that star does not come default with the theme, if you're wondering that. I've uploaded that myself. So you can actually do a lot with these lists and kind of play around with it. So it's a pretty neat thing. Alright, so the last is the blog. I've actually will be covering, if I haven't watched the video already, on just working with the blog and working with the blog slider. We can turn that blog slider off or on, and if we go to the front end, I can show you real quick. But here's our blog slider on our blog landing page. And what I can do is turn this off, so there's no slider at all, it just posts. As well as we can set, just like the homepage banner, whether it's auto playing, pause and hover, slider effect, slider type, that kind of a thing. Next is our custom menus, and you will see these images along with the link and then the name of that menu. Whoops, wrong button there. That's these 4 right here. I will cover these in another section specifically covered for menus, but basically we can upload the picture for the menu as well as choose which menu is showing up in this section. Last is the banners. Alright, so the banners, basically the banners, let me see if I can show you real quick on the front end, is we have, basically it's an ad, it's a spot, an ad spot that you can actually insert in the middle of your blog posts, and that's what we have right here, where it says we love our sponsors, and then we have this banner ad. So if we go back to the admin section under banners, we can actually set up some client-specific ads. So maybe you want to give some love to somebody, a sponsor, or whoever. We can set a section up just for them, and we can upload a logo for them. We can upload the link of where it goes to if it's clicked. As well, we can put in some text, a title, and on top of that, what we can actually do is show where it's going to show up at. Meaning, right now I have it set so it shows after the first article. So if I put this at 2, meaning it's going to show up after the second article. So this would be the first article, right? And there's the ad. But if I set it to 2, this would be the second article. Then the ad would be in between these here. So you can actually set your placement of it. On top of that, you can choose whether it shows on the first blog page or not. That means on the landing initial page or on the other ones. Outside of that, that's about it. If you don't fill this section out, then obviously no ad or no banner section will actually show up on there. Alright, I know this video is a bit long, but that pretty much covers it for the theme options panel other than the vendor section, which, like I said, I will cover in a separate tutorial.